Good morning, Year 9. So today we're going to be doing negative indices. So remember, an indices is, if you look at one of them, is an index. And an index is the little thing that's at the top. So it's the index or the power. So we're looking at negative indices or negative powers. So what we do here is we take this minus sign and it turns into a fraction bar. When that happens, the base and the index drop to the bottom. Now, effectively that leaves nothing on the top, but because we can't just leave it with nothing on the top, we write a 1 up there. Okay, so let's see how it works. So on the first questions here, we're simplifying using a positive index. So they've given us 6 to the power of minus 2. So we're going to come over here and just look at 6 to the minus 2. Now I've drawn over the top of the minus sign with a bar. So there's my bar, and I've put the 6 to the squared down the bottom. The base and the index fall to the bottom. That leaves me with nothing sitting up here, so we write a 1 up there. And we don't go any further on this one because it wants a positive index left in it. So there's our positive index, positive 2. Okay, so the next question. So we've got a to the minus 4. So I've written the a to the minus 4 over here. We're going to get our red pen and go over the top of the minus sign. The minus is now gone. There's our red line. A to the 4 is below the line. There's nothing on the top, so we write a 1 up there. Right, the next type of question, they've asked you to evaluate, which means give a number answer, giving your answer in fraction form. So we're going to keep going with this one right down to just getting a fraction. So if we look at it, we've got 25 to the power of minus 1. So let's just write it over here and have a look. We're going to go over the top of the minus sign with the red pen and make sure everything falls below it. So the 25 to the 1 is below it. There's nothing up here, and we write a 1 up there. So the only thing you have to do here now is do 25 to the power of 1, which is 25. So we're left with 1 over 25 as our fraction answer. So the next one, we've got 2 to the power of minus 10. We're going over here and writing it again and having a look at it. So get your red pen, go over the top of the minus sign, so it's now gone. That is now the bar. Right, so these are what used to be the minus sign. The 2 to the power of 10 falls to the bottom. There's nothing up the top, so we're going to write a 1. And then all you have to do here is do 2 to the power of 10 on your calculator, and the denominator is 1024. Okay, the next question, we have write using a negative index. So this time we're going backwards. So we've been given 1 over n squared. So if you come over here and have a look, right, so we have down here the n squared and the bar. We're going to put that bar back in as a minus sign. So we have n to the minus 2. So the bar's gone and it's back in here as a minus sign. The 1 at the top we slide out, so it's actually out the front. So that now is left as 1 n to the minus 2. Well, 1 doesn't mean anything, so we're leaving it as n to the minus 2. So let's have a look at the next one. We've got 6 over a. It needs an index down here, so we're going to write our little 1 up there, so it's 6 over a to the power of 1. Again, we're going to write it over here, so that fraction bar is going to go in to become a minus sign again. So the bar's gone, and we're writing a to the minus 1. Slide the 6 out in front, and our answer is 6a to the minus 1. So it takes a bit of practice, but with practice you can get this. Alright, so in number 4, we're going to simplify using positive indices. So you stop when you've got your positive index. The question says 5h to the power of minus 1. So we're going to write it over here. We're going to go over the top of the minus sign with our fraction bar, just like we did over here before. Just make sure you stop before you get to that 5, because all we want to fall below the line is the base and the index. And the base is h and the index is 1. So we've now drawn that bar There's our h to the power of 1 underneath. The 5 is just sitting out the front. So you'll notice when I write this, I write the 5 up higher because it's a whole number. So really, if it was a fraction, it would be on the top. And this bit I've written deliberately below it. So what we're going to do now is push the two bits together. And if that moves into there, it'll be 5 over h to the power of 1. That's technically the right answer because we have written it with a positive index. It's h to the power of a positive 1. So that's fine. Some people might go and write it like that in an exam. Technically, that's the correct answer, but we might get them both right. All right, let's have a look at the next one. So this time we have PB to the power of minus 2. So I've written it over here on the right. So I'm going to get my red pen, go over the top of the minus sign, and make it into a fraction bar. But make sure you only stop at the base and the index. So it looks like that. So when we draw the bar over here, the b squared is underneath it. The p is out the front. All right, it's got no fraction, so we're writing it up the top here. Now we push them together, and if that slides in there, it'll be p over b squared. So let's look at this next one. So the next question has a bracket. So everything in the bracket is to the power of minus 1. Okay? It doesn't really matter what's inside it. Don't look inside the bracket. It doesn't matter what's in there. So it's a bracket to the power of minus 1. So we're going to draw with our red pen over the minus sign. And we go all the way over there because the whole bracket is the base. Okay, so this bracket is your base. Okay, so we're going to write our red line down there. There's our base in the bracket and the index up the top. There's nothing up the top here, so we write a 1 up there. Now the next bit, all you're doing is just doing what we did with index rules. So everything in the bracket has to be raised to the power of 1. So 2 to the power of 1 equals 2, and then we just write m to the power of 1. So that technically is answering the question, writing it with a positive index. Some of you will probably go to there. That's technically correct. Okay, and the last one here, they do get harder because we have more bits and pieces in them, but the main thing you have to look at is the negative index. Everything else, don't confuse it. Okay, so the only thing with the negative index here is the p to the power of minus 2. The base is p, and the minus 2 is the index. So I'm just going to get my red pen. I'm just drawing over the top of the minus sign, but I stop at the base. So it'll look like that. So here's my red line, p squared's down the bottom, and all this stuff here that had no negative index, it sits out the front, like all these other things did. So then when we push them together and slide them together, this moves into here, it'll be 3m to the power of 3 over p squared. And that's your answer. We'll do a few more examples in the next video.